Hello and welcome. My name is Lawrence Ahipe, and I'll focus on this topic freelancing as a data analyst, skill set for building a successful economic career. As a data analyst, you're in a field that is evolving and growing, and your skills are in constant demand. But you need to understand and know how to make the most of what you have and give your present uh, level of proficiency and also your environment, how to maximize your skill as a data analyst for profit. That is what we'll be discussing in this course. So briefly, we're going to take a look at some key factors and also run through some challenges to starting and also overcoming some basic hurdles along the way on this path. Firstly, I'm going to start with just a brief definition. Freelancing. Freelancing refers to a work arrangement where individuals are engaged with certain companies or certain clients on a project basis, and they offer the services not for a long term but for a short term period. And charges could range anywhere from hourly to depend on the arrangements. But the key thing is that as a freelancer, you're not under any traditional kind of employment or engagement. So your work is more like on a short term basis, on a project basis, and you work from project to project delivering results. So that is one key thing about being a freelancer. It has comes with its advantages. You have flexibility of time and you have leverage over time. You could do a number of other things along the way. You can take on multiple projects along the way, and you're not restricted to one set of employment or engagement as it is. And so briefly, we'll take a look at what this in this session we're going to cover things like the skills you need as a data analyst and as a freelancer as well. Also, on the basic skills you need, I'm going to touch on like two of them and dive into details on how you can build on this. And also, we're going to take a look at landing your first gig strategies. This includes as a beginner or if you're also in the field, things you need to do to move up um, in your quest. We're also going to talk about developing your portfolio. It's important as a data analyst that your work is seen. So you should have a system, mechanism whereby you could display your work and put it in front of the people that actually need your service. Because the field is actually a very competitive field. You're not the only one doing what you're doing. So you have competition across the globe. So it's not like a local skill. Okay, you're doing it in one part of the world, so you're just like maybe a local champion. No, your competition is global. So you face a global audience. And since you're working freelance, and most time it's remote work, uh, you have opportunities across the globe. So we're going to take a look at how to develop your portfolio, how to put your best foot forward, and also we take a look at finance, right? Finance, setting the rates, um, how to know what to charge, and how the whole mechanism of pricing, how it goes, very key aspect to this presentation. Also understanding the price warfare, what goes on when you give a client a price and when you're bargaining. So those are things we are going to look into in details in this presentation. Okay, so we're going to start off with the first skill on my list that you need. We're going to discuss two basic skills. One is business knowledge, and the other is communication. And so business knowledge, as a data analyst, you're going to be working in various industries that are not traditionally yours by training. So you need to have certain kind of skill, knowledge-wise, to be able to navigate these new changes and new corridors and as you interact with clients. Um, so this is a very important skill. You have technical skills as a data analyst. That is your craft. You have technical skills. You know your tools. And you know how to go about it. And Of course, the job of data analyst is to extract meaningful information or insights, or what is known as actionable intelligence from data, and present it to the business in a way that they could use it, present to a company in a way, or a client in a way that that data makes meaning. It presents insight. So before you do that successfully, you should be able to know, or you should know, what the business is all about. You should be able to know what your client is into, how they make money, how they do their businesses, how their services are delivered, and how they interact with also their own clients and customers. So having business knowledge, or what's also known as a domain knowledge, you need to have knowledge in broad domains, all right, across the board. Broad domains, not just IT alone, commerce, e-commerce, HR, medical. The list is endless. So you need to have domain knowledge on the kind of business and the data you're analyzing, so that you could be able to come up with something workable for everybody involved. Why having domain knowledge or business knowledge is very important is so that as you're interacting with your clients, you should be able to ask reasonable um, questions as to derive insight as to what their needs are, and also when you make your final presentation, you also know what their interest is and how to tailor your presentation, or your analysis to actually solve the particular challenge they are facing in that particular organization. So that is why domain knowledge is very, very important. It aids you in asking very important and intelligent question to gain insights into what the other party is dealing with, or what they're involved with. So having that is very key, or understand, and also understanding the domain generally, as we said, of what the business is all about and what the company is into. It helps you make meaningful contribution, and also aids your work. As you, and also, key thing is actionable insight. Like we mentioned, job of data analyst is to make sense of data. All right, is to take the technical stuff that doesn't make sense to a non-technical mind and present it in a way that could be useful. That is both actionable and intelligent. That can be worked on and acted upon for growth, for improvement, for increase. That is the job of a data analyst. So you should have a key insight into the specific industry you're working with part time, or project you're working in. You understand? Doing that, that means by extension requires you to have a broad spectrum. All right, you have to study and read broadly and ask questions, interact with as many professional fields as possible, so as to have that insight into what they're doing. This doesn't affect your skill as a data analyst. Your tools are there. You know how to work your tools, but this is key, because you will be able, when you have this insight and this knowledge about the field, how to actually solve their problem in a way that they appreciate and makes sense to them. And so, in essence, having this domain knowledge is key and essential for data analysts to perform and their roles effectively, as it enhances their ability to understand the context, and also um, refine analysis, and also techniques to ask, also like we said earlier, the right questions, interpret results, and also collaborate with stockholders, and ultimately give meaningful, impactful business data driven decisions to the organization you're working with. Now, the second skill on our list is communication. Now, communication is very key. Whatever field you're working in, whatever interaction you're having, your ability to communicate is key. It makes a difference between um, outcomes and results. So, being a data analyst, you should hone this skill and understand it in a way that you should be able to communicate your insight. Because after your technical job is done, and you clean up the data, you analyze this, you draw out patterns and point out outliners. When you're making your presentation, bear in mind that the people you're making presentation to are not into what you're into. They don't know what you know. So you should be able to have this skill to communicate what you know in a way that they will be able to understand it and receive it and actually work with it. And that is the whole essence of the whole journey. All right, being able to communicate your findings in meaningful ways that they understand it and are able to use it to better enhance their business, better enhance decision making. So communication is one key thing freelancer needs to have. All right. So a skilled communicator is able to adapt the type of information and depending on the audience, you're able to adapt your delivery to suit the particular audience and also help them make key and meaningful decisions from what you present and offering to them. So that's a very key skill. You can't just sweep it under the carpet. It's something you have to work on continuously and also to build. All right, it's a common practice among IT professionals. The communication is always a challenge. Reason being because it's been from observation or research. Technical people tend to reason, if I use the word, in ways that are not too compatible, I would say, with regular human beings. No offense uh, for that description. All right, in the sense that when you interact with machine long enough, you tend to think in a certain way that somebody that don't interact with machines do not think, and so most IT people have this IT staffs have this challenge in relating to management staff and expressing their views and communicating their values in a way that is meaningful. So that often leads to friction. So as a data analyst, that's one thing you have to work out for, check out for. You have to hone that skill of how to really communicate and present your findings in ways, not in technical ways, in ways that is easy for everybody involved that are not technical, non-technical staff, management staffs to really understand and appreciate and drive and draw value from what you're presenting. All right, next session is getting started, landing your first gig as a freelancer. So in this session, we discuss strategies. How do you get started? How do you get started on projects? How do you get started on getting clients? How do you build up your brand? And so we're going to take a look at strategy in this session, getting started, landing your first gig freelancer. First thing you have to know is that you have to come up with your own strategy. You have to develop your strategy. Um, Freelancing is a challenging task, especially if you're doing it as a full-time thing. All right, if you have a side job, you're doing it as a side. You still okay, but you still need a strategy. All right, particularly if you think about going into it as in a full-time thing. All right, and leave your traditional employment for freelancing, you need to develop a strategy. Either way, either you're new to it or you've been at it, you need to develop a strategy. Whether you're also doing it by the side or you want to go into it full time, uh, you need to develop your own strategy. Strategy in the sense that how do you get your services to the people that need it? How do you make them know about what you do? So those are strategies you need to think through, right? You have to formulate your own strategies and also your audience. You need to know your target audience, all right? You want to know, you need to know what people or what companies or what group needs your particular kind of service and how do you get them. So that is what your strategy is all about. Of course, we have platforms, all right. There are freelancing platform, all right. I'm not basing this presentation on that, but just to mention, there are freelancing platform you could consider as a strategy, all right, as part of your strategy, all right. Also targeting your audience. And there are freelancing platform you could sign up for. Number of them have fantastic offers, but like I said, develop your strategy before joining any of this platform. Think through what you want. Look at the platform. Look at what they offer, conditions, pricing, clients. and you have to think through every detail of this thing to come up with your own strategy and before you engage. All right, this is very key. All right, because as it goes on, you want to discussing a negotiating project. So strategy is key as a freelancer. Now, one strategy is to deploy as a freelancer is visibility. You have to come up with a strategy of being visible, right? Being the place where people see you. And you have to know how to place your work or showcase your work or skill as a data analyst. And so, in other words, you have to be seen. All right. So, being seen, like I said, is all part of strategy. So, you have to think through it. All right. Where do I need to place my work? Where in front of who do I need to my work need to be in front of? Like I mentioned earlier, there are professional platforms, online platforms, freelancing platforms. Upwork is there, Freelancer, Fiverr, Popular, um, LinkedIn. They have other professional bodies you could link up with and make your work known. But something as a note, all right, as when you're doing all that, make sure you have a major platform where you, as a strategy, make sure you have a major platform where you showcase your work, all right, and every other platform that you're using, be it social media, other blog posts, should be directed towards a particular end. You don't want to scatter your earnings, all right, if you're doing platform freelancing, all right. So that is also a very key thing to note. And so, like I said, so be seen, all right, is very key. Be seen. Like I said earlier, being seen is a strategy, all right. You don't want to be everywhere that don't matter. So you have to know where to position yourself and your skill in a way that it can be seen. Like I said earlier, make sure you have a major platform if you're doing the platform thing. And make sure you have a major platform where you direct all your other traffic to so that your clients can find you. All right, it's okay to be on multiple platforms, but you don't want to scatter your earnings across those platforms. All right, because those platforms come with their own engagements, commissions, and all that, and different terms. And so you want to concentrate on one and really put your effort into being seen. All right, in line with being seen, all right, stop winking in the dark, all right. So it's very important. Visibility, like I said, this is strategy, it is very key. Visibility is something you have to think through, all right. So you have to put your services, your skill in front of the people that really need it and make yourself be seen. All right, this is a quote. I say doing business without advertising is like winking at a girl in the dark. You know what you're doing, but nobody else does. So this is very applicable for you as a freelancer. You cannot wink in the dark. Like you have to be in a place where you have visibility. Visibility is key in what you do, knowing how to place your service, know who to contact, and also network is also one key way of. It's also a strategy. Like I say, you have to think through. All right, strategy being visible, we need a website, all right, and that is also very key as a freelancer, as a data analyst. You need a website. The website is a place where you showcase your work, build your portfolio, you put on blog posts, and you discuss things in the field as a data analyst, and that helps you improving your brand, your visibility, and also boosting. Uh, the confidence that your potential clients have towards you. So when they see you, you put out posts, you discuss important trends and things related to the field of data analysis, you build a presence that way and also a brand. Also, social media is also very key. All right, maximize it and use it to your advantage. And also very key, be known for something. All right, not just don't just be a data analyst. Like I said, it's a broad field, it's a growing field. A lot of people are into it. So be known for something. Have a particular brand. Have a particular area where you are key at, where you're master, and let people know you for that particular thing. All right, be it a tool you use, be it a method, and be it a technology. Be known for something. It's very key to standing out in this line of work. All right, developing your portfolio. This is also very, very key as a strategy. All right, developing your portfolio. We mentioned be visible, be seen, um, website, social media platform, be known for something. Now, developing your portfolio. All right, places where you've worked initially, projects you've worked on. All right, you should have a way to show them. Develop those projects, build up this portfolio. But the challenge is as a first timer or as a first timer or as you starting out, you may not have so much of work to show. You may not have done something significant to show. So as a way of strategy, all right, you need to go out actively to engage, all right, and build this portfolio. And one way of doing that is apart from the freelancing platform, you have businesses around where you stay. You have restaurant chains, you have supermarkets, and you have people doing retail. You have people that those sort of businesses, and they generate data from those businesses. So it's your creativity and your ingenuity is to approach such businesses, approach the owners, of approach the operators, and offer your service for free. All right. Of course, we're talking about of building economic success from this stuff, but along the way, when you're starting, especially when you're starting out, you need to do a lot of free stuff. Reason being that you need to build up a portfolio. All right. When you're on those other platforms, the freelancing platform, um, and clients or company come looking for, they check what you've done. All right. So you have to build something. You have to have something to show. All right. So one key way, approach a local business where you stay and offer with your services and put in your best and let them see. Then you can use that as a build up. All right. So building up your portfolio, and also it increases your confidence level as you do key strategy. So along that line, if you're just starting out because of for visibility and all that, you're not well known. All right, it may be difficult to get projects. So like I said, do a lot of free projects. So you understand? Get your several projects. The initial projects you do, let them be something you're doing, not just to get money, but something you're doing to learn. All right, you may get a few bucks along the way when you're starting, but let the emphasis be, all right, you're doing this to learn. All right, you're doing this to learn, and you're learning something along the way, something that will be of value to you that will later translate into financial gains as you go along your journey. So in line with building portfolio, all right, you have to build up your proficiency level. All right, you're a data analyst, you have the technical skills, but you have to build proficiency. So taking on projects, all right, taking on projects builds up your proficiency level and also your confidence level. As that builds up over time, that translates, all right, to finance for you. That translates to profit for you. So take on projects, especially as the first as someone just starts out in the field. Take on projects, not minding the cost per se. Take on projects so you can learn one, and also so you can build your proficiency level, your confidence level, and also so that you can build a portfolio, something to show, all right, something to show that will later lead to higher earnings. All right, the next section is managing finance and setting rates. And this is a very tricky thing for freelancers. All right, how do you manage your finance? How do you set rate for your services? All right, like I said earlier, if you're starting out initially, nobody knows you, and so they might be reluctant to actually pay, you understand, as in high sums and all that. But as a rule, you should have a mental picture, mechanism, you understand, on what your rate is and how in the market. All right. As a general rule, do not set your rates too low. All right. Don't set it low at all. If you set it low, uh, it gives off an impression that you might be incompetent. All right. So that might not be the case. So that's why I said as a strategy, if you're starting out, offer a lot of do a lot of free jobs to build up that level. So when you get that portfolio, you understand, you work with major clients, local clients, and big brands and all that. So when you have those things to show, you can actually, you understand, charge the way you desire and all that. All right, now that this is just for demonstration purposes, all right, calculation of hourly rates. Okay, this might be applicable to those already in the field or those starting out. All right, maybe in this part of the world we don't actually do hourly rate per se, but this is just a rough sketch. All right, so this is done in naira. All right, so this is calculating an hourly rate for someone that earns 1.2 million naira annually. That translates to about 100,000 monthly. All right, if you have 100,000 monthly salary annually, this is what your salary translates to. Assuming you have a job by the side. All right, this just like I say for demonstration purposes, to help you see what goes on, how your paid employment is actually charged and rated, so that it gives you an idea, a clue. So when you're setting out as a freelancer, how to actually price your service and based on this calculation. So assuming your current salary is 100,000 monthly, so that would translate to 1.2 billion yearly, annually. All right, so for a year, you have a total work week of 50 weeks. So 50 weeks a year, out of the 54 weeks you're working. All right, so in hours per week, you work 5 days a week, 8 hours per day. That will translate to 40 hours per week. And our total hours per year will now be the number of weeks, which is 50, um, by the number of hours per week, which is 40. You end up with something like 2,000 hours per year. So that is what you work per year, 2,000 hours. Now, if we want to go, if we want to find, if you want to find the rate, hourly rate based on your annual income of 1.2, it will be 1.2 by 2,000, and that will amount to like 600. All right, like I said, this for demonstration purposes, but just to give you an idea of what goes on um, for paid employment and how um, your pay is actually rates and when it's broken down, this is what it amounts to. So that means you paid 600 per hour, 600 per hour if you're on a monthly salary of 100,000, yearly salary, that's yearly, it translates to 1.2 million. All right. Now you have a total of 2,000 work hours for this kind of setting. But as a freelancer, yours is slightly different because for a paid employment, all right, you go to the office and the work is already ready, waiting for you to get done. All right. But as a case of a freelancer, so these 200 hours, you will not spend or you may not spend these 200 hours a year working. All right. This out of these 200 hours, you may spend half of this time actually looking for the job, looking for clients, looking for people to bring projects to you. So you might spend half of this time looking, looking out for clients and looking out for projects. So you might be spending like 1,000 hours looking for clients and also 1,000 hours per year working. So that will just to give you an idea, so you can base your rates based on that. Like I said, based on your goals and what you want to achieve. All right, you can set your rate with that in mind. Of course, you want to get paid higher than what you would if you were employed. So that should be the goal. So you set your rate based on that. We'll look at it as we go on. We'll look at setting rates and also doing price um, plays out. All right, welcome to the price warfare. Now, this is where the work is as a freelancer. All right, this is where you want to be. This is the game you want to master. This is the warfare you want to win. The price and how to set your rate, how to get paid, and how your services is valued and priced. And so this is where we dive into that session of the course of this presentation, and also look at some key things when it comes to pricing, some psychological aspect of it, and also some interactions you have with clients. And we look at some examples of how this warfare is actually waged on a daily basis, emotionally and psychologically, um, as a freelancer offering your service to um, I want to start at concept of anchoring. Anchoring. Anchoring is a concept. Okay, it's a root word from sailors. All right, from ship. When there's ships have anchors. All right, so anchor is something that holds a ship or a boat in position, so it won't drift away, and something to hold it down and keep it within a certain range or limits as in movement and all that. So that is anchoring. Now in pricing and business, the art of anchoring occurs almost on a daily basis. Sometimes unconsciously we do this, or other people do it to us. Take a scenario, all right. A client comes to you and says, assuming you set your rate, so for example, say you charge say hourly, and let me put this in dollars now. Let's say you charge like $100 per hour. The client comes to you offering a project, but they're not willing to pay. The client is not willing to pay that much. The client now says, "Oh, we can't afford you. $100 per hour is too much for us," and they're offering, say something like $50 per hour. All right, and the client comes, oh, we're offering $50 per hour. All right, now there is the art of anchoring is already happening. All right, the client comes to you, knows your rate, but it comes and say, I can offer 50. This is what I want to offer. All right, and so subconsciously, unconsciously, you're on that 50 dollar is offering is already creating an anchor. All right, you're already thinking within the range, the limits of that $50. But that is what an anchor is all about. Something to hold a ship down, to restrict the movement and keep it in a particular terrain. So that's acts of the client saying, okay, this is what I want to offer. This is what I have to offer. It's an art of anchoring. So it anchors you to that position. And in that situation, it's difficult for you to go anything beyond and above that amount that the client has actually said that they're willing to pay for your service. So this, like I said, is psychology. You need to understand how this works. All right, anchoring. It will also happen in reverse. If you say the numbers first, all right, the client also will be forced to think about your as a rule or as a trick rather. Whoever says the number first, all right, gets the other person thinking about that number. Whoever says the number first, uh, everybody involved in the party thinks about that number. All right, you don't your mind just automatically zeroes in on that figure, and that is what you're thinking on. All right, and if that number is way below your rate or how you price your service at, you cannot go above it because that number was put on the table first. All right. So as a rule, all right, as a rule, when you're dealing with clients, you're conducting businesses, uh, always have this in mind, all right, and develop a strategy, all right, on how to handle this, all right, because whether you know it or not, it's going to affect your income, your earnings, and the way you perceive your service and the way clients also perceive your service. Remember, we said do not set your standards too low, all right, when you're starting out, or even when you're experienced in the field. All right, especially when you're starting out, don't say, okay, you're starting out, you don't have any experience, so you don't set your standards very low. If you're setting them too low, uh, it's a losing game. All right, most times you can never go above that rate, but it's good to set it in a way that is high. You have to be confident in yourself and what you offer. Set your rate high and let the customer meet you up rather than setting it down. All right, if you set it down, the customer is going to take it down. All right, there's no situation or scenario where the customer is going to raise it up for you. So you are the one that will set your numbers. All right, so as a rule, be the first one to say the numbers. Say the number and it sticks. All right, so it's as a rule. All right, whoever says it first. All right, people get stuck on that. So when you say your price first, you say the figure first. People get stuck on that. All right, so no matter how much you want to push it around and move it around, you're still within that range. All right, of um, number you put it on the table for. So this is very, very key. Like I say, it's psychological. It goes on every time in business in negotiations. All right, for first timers and newbies, the fall victim of this, either for lack of experience or in an attempt to get, okay, you want to get people to your side. All right, so okay, let me put my price down so I can attract more people. All right, some cases it works, but in most cases, when it doesn't play out well in the long run. It could suffice the short term, but in the long term, the long run, it's a losing game. All right, because once you set that standard as for low pricing, you're not making profit. You just want to get customers in there before you raise your prices. Most times it is very, very difficult, or it's a losing game. And the way customers and the way clients perceive you as well when your prices is too low, and they tend to see that probably maybe you're incompetent or you're not unsure of what you're offering. All right, but when your price is set high and you maintain your standard, eventually clients come around and they give you, like I say, as a rule, all right, you have to develop a mental mode of saying your numbers first. You have to be bold about this. Say it first and say it high. Don't be conservative about this. All right, this is what you're offering. Be the first to put it on the table and let it be high. So that way, the bidding or the bargaining, all right, goes in your favor, whichever way. All right. Um, okay, I have a mentor. Part of his rule is never give discounts. All right. You set your price, let it be your price. All right. Maintain a standard. All right. So when people know you with a standard, it's easy for you in the long run. But if they perceive you as someone that okay, you're always going back on your words. Okay, you say price, you're always giving discount. The challenge of giving discount is people always expect discount when you give them first discount. They just assume, okay, this is it. All right, they don't want to go above and that. So, like I said, say your numbers first and say it high. So these are tips and things you need to know and master as a freelancer, as a data analyst, as you interact and engage with um, things you need to be abreast of. And also, importantly, you have to stay inspired. Being a freelancer, all right, it's a long road, all right. So you have to stay inspired. You need inspiration for the long run, all right. You need inspiration to get inspired daily, whatever means or method you use to get inspired. You need to stay on that frequency. Get inspired through reading, through listening to motivational audios, something to inspire you to keep you going. It's very, very key. Also, you also have to commit to growth. Growth is a very growth is a must. All right. Data analysis is a growing field. All right, you're gonna meet new challenges every day. New things are gonna pop up. You have to commit to growth. All right, however that is for you. Reading, meditating, listening to tapes, attending seminars. You have to commit to growth. You have to keep growing, keep learning, and keep growing. And also, you have to live with passion. All right, be passionate. Put your energy to it. Put your everything to what you're doing. To which really make it succeed, and that is what is required for every adventure and every part you take in life. All right, thank you for your time. I do hope that was impactful. I hope you got the one or two you pick one or two things along the way. All right, thank you for your time. We are open for questions. I'll take a few questions, and thank you very much.